He defeated the Confederacy and accepted General Lee's surrender. But his presidency, long considered one of the most corrupt and chaotic in U.S. history. Yet in recent years, a reassessment has emerged. Was Ulysses S. Grant far more principled and visionary than we ever gave him credit for? Welcome to Presidential Paradox, and today we will be talking about our 18th U.S. President, Ulysses S. Grant. Grant was born in Ohio in 1822 to a working-class family. He was shy and modest and attended West Point Academy against his own wishes, but excelled as a horseman. He fought in the Mexican-American War under war heroes Zachary Taylor and Winfield Scott. He left the Army in the 1850s and struggled mightily with alcohol, failed business ventures, and poverty. He rejoined the Union Army at the Civil War's start. His cool-headed leadership won early victories and eventually caught Abe Lincoln's eye. Couple cool facts about Grant: he was nicknamed Unconditional Surrender for his firm battlefield demands, and he was deeply uncomfortable with political theater, and he hated giving public speeches. Also, he never lost a battle once he became head of the Union Army in 1864. Now, why can we defend Ulysses S. Grant and point to him being one of the better presidents in U.S. history? For one, his civil rights commitment. He strongly supported Reconstruction and the rights of freed men. He used federal troops to crush the Ku Klux Klan and enforce civil rights laws. Secondly, he stood up to domestic terrorism. He created the Department of Justice and used it to prosecute white supremacist groups, and he supported the Enforcement Acts to give the federal government power to combat voter suppression and racial violence. He also had foreign policy successes. He avoided war with Britain in the Alabama Claims Arbitration, which secured reparations peacefully. He pursued peaceful relations in the Western Hemisphere, even proposing annexation of the Dominican Republic, although that never ended up coming to fruition. So he had some domestic and foreign policy wins. But why is he so criticized or condemned? What case can we make for him being one of the lesser presidents in American history? Well, for one, there was rampant corruption in his administration. Grant himself was honest, but many around him were not. And we all know the old saying, hanging out with the wrong crowd does something corrupts good character. The bad crowd corrupts good character. Something like that. He had some major scandals in his presidency. One, the credit mobilier. Railroad insiders who defrauded the government under his watchful eye. He also had the whiskey ring scandal, where Treasury officials cheated the government out of tax revenue. Grant's personal secretary was implicated in this manner, which didn't look good on him. And he had the Indian ring scandal. Officials accepted bribes in exchange for Native American supply contracts. So there were several big-time scandals and corruption in his administration. A second bad thing that happened during his presidency was economic mismanagement. The Panic of 1873 devastated the American economy, and his adherence to the gold standard only worsened the Depression. He failed to provide adequate relief to suffering workers and farmers. And he had a very passive executive style. Despite his strong moral instincts and being a great war general, Grant lacked political savvy, and Congress often outmaneuvered him. Many reforms came too late or without sufficient enforcement. Now, a couple what-ifs for the comment section below for y'all to debate on yourselves. For decades, he is ranked near the bottom of presidential lists, seen as a failed administrator. But modern scholars note his moral courage, racial justice efforts, and foreign policy restraint. His memoirs, written while dying of cancer, are considered one of the greatest works of presidential literature. So what do you think about him in the comments below? Is he a bad president, or was he better than most gave him credit for initially? We are going to personally grade him on some categories right now and see where he falls on my personal presidential tier list. First category, road to the White House. He was a legendary military leader, a national hero that made his election basically inevitable. I'm going to give him an easy A for road to the White House. What about his successes? He had some major civil rights legislation passed, suppressed the KKK, and he had some diplomatic achievements. I'm going to give him a solid B- for successes. Now, what about his failures and controversies? Administrative chaos, multiple major scandals, economic crisis, mismanagement. Gonna give him a pretty low score or grade of D. Now, what about his morality and ethics? He was personally honorable, deeply committed to racial equality, and maybe a little bit too trusting. I'm going to give Grant a B+ for morality and ethics. Now, what about his long-term impact? His legacy is improving, seen as more of a progressive and more courageous than credited. He's often forgotten, though, it's kind of middle of the road. I'm going to give him a C for long-term impact. Now, what about his leadership and vision? He was strong in principle and strong as a military leader, but weak in execution of the executive branch. I'm going to give him a C for leadership and vision. What about his public sentiment? He's popular during the war, but his administration scandals damaged his reputation, which still lingers a bit now. I'm going to give him a C for public sentiment. Or no, you know what? A C minus for public sentiment. Now, what about his constitutional respect? I think he took decisive action against domestic terror, but didn't always rein in power abuses by his allies, right? So he used the Constitution when others were muddy in the water, but when his own crew was muddy in the water, his constitutional respect wasn't all that there. I'm going to give him a B, though. Overall, I think he respected it. Now, what is his final grade? I'm going to give Ulysses S. Grant a C+. So I think he was okay. He did decent at some points, but he's definitely not a good president. It's just slightly decent. Now, Grant wasn't a great president, but he was a deeply principled man in a turbulent time. More than perhaps any 19th century president, he believed in racial justice and was willing to fight for it, as well as some other good things that he did post-war. Go ahead and check out some of his writings before he died. Those are worth a look, and let me know what you think about Ulysses S. Grant in the comment section. And of course, hit me with that like button if you want to see more, and subscribe if you want to see faith-related content, outdoor videos, some of the other stuff that I do on the channel. And before you go, if you want to be part of a secret society just like all of our great presidents, check out the membership program, link below. There are some cool exclusive bonus content you'll be able to receive, as well as being able to view videos weeks ahead of time. It's worth checking out. I will see y'all in the next video. Southern Woods out.